Welcome to Module 8 of 11 modules of the Certificate 4 of Project Management course presented by Charter Australia. This module is all about communications within a project environment and the tools project managers and project coordinators use to effectively communicate with others. This module addresses the competency Apply Communications Management Techniques. Think about all the forms of communication you use in a project environment. Email, telephone, meetings and reports are the most common forms of project communication. However, there are other types of communication, such as formal presentations, video conferences, teleconferences, etc. Effective communication. Communications within the project go beyond simply talking with people. Effective communication includes interpersonal communication. That is, selecting the style that is most appropriate to the audience and the situation. It includes flow of information into, out of, and within the project environment. And it includes reporting and reviews, which are used as control measures to ensure that the project is running smoothly. For this to work effectively, there are a number of critical competencies that a project manager or project coordinator must have. These are the skills and knowledge to plan the communication needs of the project, to manage project information, that is, storage, control and distribution, and manage formal and informal communication during the project according to the project plan. It also involves analysing communication management outcomes with a view to improving current and future communications processes. Interpersonal communication requires a conscious and continual effort to ensure that you are heard, understood and answered. Important skills required for this are simple and objective language. It is important to express yourself clearly and not be too verbose. Listening and feedback. Listening is an art. We often hear but fail to listen. In order to ensure that you have understood the person who is communicating with you, you should ensure that you provide feedback by summarizing what was said or agreed. This technique is called active listening, and by using it you will lessen the probability of misunderstandings, which can often become problems at a later time. Contributing information and ideas. An effective team is a team that communicates well. Open discussion is encouraged so that every member knows that their opinion is heard and counted. This will result in not only a happier, more motivated team, but also higher quality solutions to challenges or issues encountered as part of the project delivery. Concise, clear reporting to stakeholders. It's important that project progress be reported in a concise and clearly understandable manner to the project sponsor and any other key project stakeholders. Negotiation and conflict management. Project managers and coordinators are often in situations where they must negotiate for desired outcomes, for example resources, or must manage conflict, for example when two team members cannot resolve a disagreement themselves. In both situations, it is important to work towards a win-win outcome. This requires practice and skill. Within any project, effective communications don't just happen. They are planned and implemented in a structured and clear manner. It's important to define all the stakeholder groups and determine the interactions between them. Sometimes a communication network diagram can be useful. Refer to Appendix A on page 8/23 of your UNEP textbook for examples of communication network diagrams. Once the stakeholder groups are identified and their needs understood, you should determine what the most effective form of communication will be. In some cases, regular meetings will be appropriate, but in others, a short status update every month may be all that is required. Using inappropriate forms of communications can lead to communication failure and result in discontented stakeholders. A communications plan must be documented at the beginning of the project as part of the overall project management plan. This slide illustrates the key questions you should be asking when you are developing your communications plan. Who do I need to communicate with? The stakeholders? Anyone else, for example, the media? What do I need to communicate? For example, project status or a community newsletter. What method of communication will be best? For example, a meeting, a status report, a newsletter, email or phone. And finally, how often do I need to communicate? For example, fortnightly or monthly. This slide illustrates a simple communications plan for the School Fate project we talked about in earlier modules. Who do I need to communicate with? Firstly, the project team members. We need to discuss project progress as well as any other risks or issues. It's best that this is done weekly through convening a meeting. Of course, an agenda will be distributed before the meeting and the meeting will be minuted. Secondly, the project sponsor, the headmaster, must be given a regular status report. Fortnightly will be acceptable in this case. The report will be sent out and then followed up with a face-to-face meeting. Lastly, it's a good idea to keep parents and the general community informed about the event. This could be done on a monthly basis through a newsletter to an existing mailing list. An update could also be published in the local paper and also on the school's internet site. Failure to have a working communications plan and appropriate triggers can result in forgetting to keep people informed, especially when there are periods of high project pressure. A communications matrix is also a very important tool for summarizing project reports and meetings. Refer to the example in Appendix B on page 8/25 of your UNEP textbook. Information management involves storing project communication so that it is readily accessible by all those who need it. It involves ensuring that project information and documents are distributed to or can be accessed by the correct people. It involves ensuring that all documents have an appropriate version control so that everyone can determine whether they have the most up-to-date version. And lastly, it ensures that you have a strategy for archiving project documentation after the project is finished, so that it can be accessed if there is a requirement. Project documentation often needs to be accessed for legal reasons or by future project staff to assist in planning similar projects. These days, there are numerous document management computer systems which are internet or intranet based. They have features that promote good information structures and also automated version control. Many firms are now using these systems both during the project and also for documentation archiving. The project management plan provides the baseline upon which changes can be applied. Progress reports bring to attention any deviations and variations from the baseline, thus enabling change control. During most projects, reports are provided periodically in accordance with the communications plan. Reports are provided at all levels of the project. For example, contractors or vendors will supply progress reports to the project coordinator or project manager to provide information on the work they have done during the last period and what they will do in the next period. The project manager should also provide a summarized report to the project sponsor or steering committee. A progress or status report should be concise and above all honest. Your key stakeholders don't want a blow-by-blow description of your project, but they do want an honest summary of your progress, your successes, as well as any major problems you may be experiencing. They'll want to know if you're on schedule and whether your expenditure is according to budget. Please refer to the status report template, which is provided in your set of course templates. In addition to these reports, a meeting should be held with the project sponsor or steering committee to review that report. This forum also provides an opportunity to answer any questions they may have or to discuss key issues. Remember that these meetings must be minuted and agreed actions must be followed up. This slide is a reminder about meeting protocols. Always send out an agenda prior to the meeting. The agenda should list all items to be discussed and may have proposed timings against them. This helps the chairperson to keep the meeting on track and avoid going over time. Items requiring additional discussion should be taken offline and discussed in a separate meeting. Be clear about who is chairing the meeting and who the minute taker is. It's not good practice for the chairperson to also be the minute taker, as this results in delays or missed information. The minute should be a summary of decisions, not paraphrases of the discussion. Action items must be documented, ensuring that a person is responsible for the action and a due date is agreed. Minutes of meetings should be distributed within 24 hours of the meeting being held. It's pointless to expect a person to have done their action item if they received the minutes 2 hours before the next meeting. People are often very busy and need to be reminded by receiving the minutes. Action items should be followed up at the next meeting, or if they are due before the next meeting, they should be followed up at the due date. This ends Module 8, Communications Management. Please read Module 8 in your UNEP textbook. You now need to complete the following communications assignments for your case study project and submit them to your tutor: the communications plan and the status or progress report. Please refer to your case study, assignment instructions and supporting templates.